So our Chapter 7 Rationals review. The first 4 problems ask us to state the vertical and horizontal asymptotes equations. Remember that the asymptotes will always be x equals for your vertical and y equals for your horizontal. So for our first equation, the vertical asymptote is what makes the denominator equal to 0. So our vertical asymptote is x equals positive 3, and our horizontal asymptote is our k, and that's the 7, so y equals 7. Equation 2 is in a slightly different form, but the vertical asymptote is always what makes the denominator equal to 0, so x is equal to 4. And the horizontal asymptote comes from the ratio of the coefficients on the x, and the x on the bottom has a 1, so that's y equals 3. Once again, our vertical asymptote on negative 3 over x minus 2 comes from what makes the denominator 0. Since I'm not adding or subtracting anything, it's just x equals 0. And our horizontal asymptote is y equals negative 2. And a side note, this question doesn't ask for it, but what is our domain and range for each of these? Our domain is x does not equal our vertical asymptote. In this case, number 3 is 0. And our range is y does not equal our horizontal asymptote, negative 2. You can put that in set notation as well. Number 4. Again, this is in the ax plus b over cx plus d form. We take what makes the denominator 0, and that answer is still just 0, because I'm not adding the 4, I'm multiplying it. So my vertical asymptote is x equals 0, and my horizontal asymptote is the ratio of the coefficients, which in this case is 3 over 4. So y equals 3/4. So number 5 is asking us what equation matches the graph. So let's look at this and find where we think our asymptotes are. It looks to me like when I look at this, let's find our vertical asymptote. It looks like the lines are getting really close to this x equals positive 3. Yeah, if we draw that, it doesn't touch it, so it looks like that's it. And then in this case, it looks like y equals 1 and x equals 3. So that means this is a possibility. A is a possibility because it has a horizontal asymptote at 1 and a vertical asymptote at 3. B can't be correct because it has a horizontal asymptote at 3, so we'll cross out B. C, let's look at that one. It has a vertical asymptote at 3. It has a vertical asymptote, at 3, and a horizontal asymptote at 1, so that could also be it. Y equals 1, x equals 3. And D cannot be it because it has a horizontal asymptote at 3 and the vertical asymptote at 1. So it's got to be either C or A. A has a coefficient, or an A of 1, which would put it in these quadrants that we see here. The other thing we can look at is, let's plug in 0. 0 looks like it's at about negative 3/4. So we've eliminated D as well from our equation. So when I plug in 0 to C, I get 0 plus 2 over 0 minus 3, which is negative 2/3. That's pretty close to what that one is. Let's look at A, 1 over 0 minus 3 plus 1, which is negative 1/3 plus 1, which was positive 2/3. So this is definitely not positive 2/3 here. So our correct answer is C. So when I plugged it in, this one has the correct asymptotes. It has the correct asymptotes, and it has the correct value when x is equal to 0. Okay, now let's look at number 6, graph with asymptotes. F of x equals negative 1 over x plus 2 minus 4. So what is the equation of the vertical asymptote? Remember, the vertical asymptote comes from whatever makes the denominator equal to 0. So x plus 2 equals 0. That means x equals negative 2. And our horizontal asymptote is this k value out here, minus 4. So y equals negative 4. So the domain is x such that x cannot equal negative 2, and our range is y such that y does not equal negative 4. So it just does not equal your asymptotes. So let's draw those on here. Let's see, x equals negative 2. And y equals negative 4. So what values do we want to pick to plug into our function? Well, let's look at negative 1 and 0. And then two numbers on the left side, negative 3 and negative 4. So when I plug those in, I have negative 1 over negative 1 plus 2 minus 4. That's, let's see, negative 1 over positive 1, negative 1 minus 4, which is negative 5. And negative 1 over 0 plus 2 minus 4. It's negative 1/2 minus 4. Negative 4.5. And plug in a negative 3. Negative 1 over negative 3 plus 2 minus 4. That's negative 1 over negative 1, which is positive. 1 minus 4, which is negative 3. And negative 1 over negative 4 plus 2, which is 1/2 minus 4. It's negative 3.5. So once I plug those in, I can plot them on here to find out where my graph is. It's negative. So the negative out front tells me that it should be in these two quadrants as divided by the asymptotes. So let's put some of those on there. Let's see. 1, negative 5, and 0, negative 4.5. So that branch goes like this. And then 3, negative 3. And negative 4, negative 3.5. It's going to be hard to draw on there. Almost got it. And there is our graph.